Introducing you guys to a new type of videos today. Basically, I want to do a quick tips series through Instagram over the years. I've shared lots of things, you know, everything I was trying out, every method I used to study Japanese. I actually explained and articulated some of it, but then to some extent a lot of it, and especially what I found to be the most useful, the recap of my best tips to study Japanese. I've actually never done it, so this is what this whole series will be about. I basically made a collection of my best tips, tried and approved by me. It's all validated and I hope it will be useful to you guys, and without further ado, let's start with the first video. Okay, so I have a quick question for you guys. Did you know that you can actually watch the Japanese news for free on YouTube? I know, it's mind-blowing. Probably a lot of you know about it, but for those of you who only just started studying Japanese, probably you're a bit lost and you don't really know where to find good resources on internet, and especially listening resources, because it can be quite hard to find at the beginning. So I'm just telling you guys today, if you didn't know, for free you can actually watch 24/7 Japanese news on internet. You don't even need your TV for that, and thank God for YouTube. Everything is on YouTube and live streamed over here. Right, so I stop you right there. Before you ask me, Ali, please give us the name of the channel you're talking about. Yes, of course I will give you the names of the channels. So I have 3 top channels. We have ANN News Channel, we have FNN Prime Online, okay, and we have Nichitele News. These 3 channels are the best thing out there, especially the ANN News Channel for live streams, so 24/7 news live streams. Same for FNN channel, so it's like, it's not 24/7. They do a live stream in the morning, at lunchtime and in the evening, for the news specifically. You can find short recaps of important news, so they took snippets of these live broadcasts and they made videos out of them, so you can find like videos of 2-minute duration, which is great, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. So this is absolutely great for beginners specifically, to just, you know, focus on one particular thing instead of being lost into 50 news. And then on Nichitele News, what I really like to watch there is actually not live stream of news broadcast, it's actually the documentaries over there. Here you go with all the channels. That's the magic of YouTube. You can have access to all this content in Japanese for free. I find this absolutely amazing, and for sure, if you didn't know about it, this is going to become a great tool for your studying of Japanese. The use I make of these channels has now become a bit sporadic. I just watch them here and there, especially at lunch. But when I started using them in 2020, so January 2020, okay, literally, I started the year 2020 thinking, okay, I need to listen to Japanese, spoken Japanese, because I didn't understand like any of it. I was extremely slow at just oral comprehension, listening comprehension, and I mean, it was my fault completely from start to finish, because at that point I had never done any listening practice at all. Please don't do the same as I did, for your sake. But yes, I was desperate to find good content. Basically, I was in a place where I really needed to hear spoken Japanese and find good listening resources just for that. Good articulate listening resources. And you know, I thought to myself, and I found that the news would be actually great, even though I knew it was going to be difficult to understand because of course a lot of the vocab used on the news is actually quite hard. I knew all that from the start. Nevertheless, I started listening to the news and it was a ride. Basically, what I started doing was 20 to 30 minutes of listening practice on these channels, especially the ANN news channel, every single morning when I woke up while having my first coffee of the day for several months. Okay, we're talking about 8 to 9 months. I was sitting at my desk looking straight at the screen and trying to decipher whatever the hell was being said, because at the beginning I didn't understand anything. Okay, anything. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand the titles. I of course didn't know the kanji like displayed on the screen, and oh my god, there are a lot of kanji displayed on the screen on news broadcasts. A pro tip for you guys: if you really want to give your full attention to something, you should look at it. I feel like a lot of us are being distracted, especially by our phones, when we are doing something else. And this is the worst thing you can do to your concentration. And so, again, I repeat, when I was doing this listening practice every day in the morning, I was looking at the screen, straight at the screen, nothing else, for 20 to 30 minutes. Of course, eventually I started understanding what I was listening to, what I was watching, bit by bit. Okay, it was very progressive. I wasn't only doing that, but we'll go over this in separate videos, but definitely it went very progressively. I started by understanding some words, like, you know, one or two here and there, or like grammar structures, and I was like, oh my god, I can understand. No, but actually I didn't understand anything, but I could understand like bits here and there. I was like, oh, I got that word, oh, I got that word, so on and so forth. Anyway, in June 2020, and I kid you not, okay, one fine morning of June, probably towards the end of June, I woke up. I did exactly the same as I was, you know, as I had been doing for like the past 6 months. I turned on the news and oh my god, I could understand. And it was literally like my brain had somehow wired like a so far unused part like wired one neuron where it had to be, and you know, I was touched by the light, basically. I could understand, finally. I really remember because I started crying of happiness, as you can imagine, me being extremely emotional. I could see a clear difference with the day before. So it happened overnight. Of course, it was a build-up for many months, and you know, a build-up of vocab, of grammar, and everything connected together, and of course listening practice. Finally, I could understand. So don't get me wrong, it's not like I could understand perfectly what was being said. What I'm saying is, I could finally make sense of the sentences. And so, making sense of the sentences is the first step. From there, I only had to fill in the gaps. The words I didn't understand were like gaps. Began the second part, I want to say, of my listening training. And so this whole time I was using my trusty dictionary app, Yume, right here, but I was just using it to look up the words, basically, as they came up. Wasn't doing anything with it in particular. But from that point on, not only was I frantically looking up the words as they came up during the broadcast, but I was also putting them in a special study list in the Yume app for me to study later. This was game changer for me, and I'm not talking about the basic words, because the basic words, you know, the words that repeat themselves the most frequently in Japanese, I knew them already. So I was really looking for these other words, these other types of words, and so these ones I just learned through this method of just looking the vocab as it came up, not pausing the video, okay? So just looking the vocab frantically as it came up. And then once I was done with 20 to 30 minutes listening practice, basically I took my notebook here, this one, and I basically wrote down the whole list of vocab words I had found during my listening practice. So I did this so this one I started literally the 30th of June, and I stopped doing it in September. Yes, I stopped doing it in September, at the start of September. So literally 8 to 9 months of listening practice, plus from June to September noting down the vocab list that I was creating myself out of the news listening. Because I know you guys are going to ask, more specifically, what I was doing was listening to the news, looking up the words on my Yume app as they came up, putting them in my study list. Once I was done with my listening practice, taking my study list, taking my notebook, writing all the words like in black, okay? Then I was reviewing them right away. I had 3 highlighters, one yellow, one pink, one orange. The yellow was to remember in priority, because these were words I absolutely needed to know. Like, I couldn't go on without knowing them. For example, the first time I heard side-eye, so biggest, okay, greatest, and I didn't understand it, and I was like, okay, I didn't understand it when it came up in a sentence, but I mean, from now on, like going forward, I need to understand this word. Or tasu, I have it here, so to reach, to get to. Then in pink were the new or less important vocab. Okay, so these ones, for example, I had jinken, human rights, written as pink, or I had taidan, okay, as pink. So these ones, I estimated that they were, yes, important, but like I had to know them at some point, of course. But that's the thing, at some point. It wasn't urgent at that point for me, because I knew that these were a bit further advanced words, and I didn't need to know them like today, you know what I mean? So this was for pink, and then for the orange I had special vocab. So this kind of vocab, the last one I prioritized, just in the sense that basically these seemed like very advanced words. So for example, here I had tegotai for resistance, or I had shosai, in detail. So you're going to tell me, yeah, okay, but shosai, I mean, it's actually something that could have been in the pink category. I agree with you now, but back then I didn't know at all, and to me it seemed like something quite rare, like I'd never seen that word before. And then basically I left also some of it without any highlights here and there, and these words I just didn't prioritize them at all. They came up, I noted them down, but like, okay, like I don't need to remember them like right now. So I had, for example, choeki, forced labor. This is funny because actually I relearned that word very recently, because of course that's a very advanced word, and I just relearned it because I read this book on the Japanese codes. So basically all of the penalties and you know, criminal sentences that you can get in Japan. Of course, it was in there, so that's how I relearned that word. So that's pretty much it for the notebook. I will have done a flip through of it for you guys to see in detail. And so that's basically the story of how I understood spoken Japanese, specifically doing listening practice with the news. And after a while, doing this every day, at some point, it was just very easy for me to listen to and understand the news. Again, don't get me wrong, even now, it's not like I can understand 100%, and I'm still looking up words. Over the span of 30-minute listening practice, I would look up like 5 words, something like this, or like 4 to 5 words, whereas back then I was literally looking up all the words that I could understand. Because I wasn't pausing the video, I was literally you know, typing like crazy on my phone to try and get in and look up as many words as possible. So it gives you an idea of how many words I was looking up per session. And these lists I was noting down on my notebook became less and less, but at the beginning I think I was like around 45 vocab words for one session of 20 to 30 minutes. Alright, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you also find this concept useful. If you have any question, of course, please don't hesitate and ask me in the comments. They are here for this purpose. I'm off to study some Japanese now, so don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!